Dear Diary, this is a sad, sad story like all of my stories. Well, they're not all sad. I'll post a few good ones at some point in time. But right now, we need to expose the scumbags who destroyed our world, our society, and everything inside of it. I go after hypocrites. I'm not like most people. I will bite the hand that feeds. You must bite the hand that feeds, otherwise you don't have integrity. I will attack my allies as quickly as I will attack my enemies. I don't give a shit which side you're on if all you do is lie. And if we got rid of the so-called liberal fakes, there could be no right-wingers left. It's because of people like Dan Savage that we still have a right wing at all. Today, I'm going to tell you a few secrets about a piece of garbage named Dan Savage, a fucking super right-wing scumbag who pretends to be a gay activist. Now, most of you are lazy thinkers, and you say you trust whatever appearances you see, right? The President of the United States said he was into compassionate conservatism. He didn't say he was into uncompassionate conservatism. Why would he lie? I mean, why would Dan Savage lie? Well, I don't know. We've never been able to get him to answer the question. Example, I've confronted him a bunch of times about the fact that he has done everything in his power, literally, everything in his power to help the anti-gay movement not only continue to exist, but to increase and thrive. Example, for 10 years, Dan Savage has known that a billionaire media mogul named Mike Bloomberg is super anti-gay rights. I, for instance, ran for mayor in 2001. I was on the Green Party ballot here in New York City, and there was only one candidate who had legalizing gay marriage in their platform. Only one. Me. And I got some good coverage. New York Times did a photo and piece on me, etc. Mike Bloomberg was against gay marriage. He stole the election and did a lot while mayor to stop all equal rights, civil rights, etc., etc., etc. Dan Savage fully supported him. He could have stopped that Republican piece of shit, but Dan Savage said Bloomberg is a media mogul billionaire, radio, TV, news, magazines. Dan Savage, first and foremost, care about my pocketbook, not gay rights. Me, myself, and I. He's an Uncle Tom. And so Dan said, I'm not going to burn bridges in the media. My entire career is based on media. I'm not going to upset the billionaire media mogul, one of the most powerful media men on earth. He could end my career. I could, of course, end his career. But it'd be better off if I sold out all gay people and all teenagers who are committing suicide, etc., by kissing up to the billionaire. And so Dan refused to help us expose Bloomberg. Then Bloomberg stole the 2005 election, broad daylight, cheated, committed tens of thousands of crimes, cheated everything by throwing his money around. Every left-wing paper said Bloomberg, the Republican neo-Nazi, is the greatest mayor ever, and all the right-wing papers said the same thing. Everyone said the same thing. All the good government groups who hated Bloomberg all said he was the best. Everyone did, because everyone was scared of the super Hitler. Because remember, Hitler wasn't a billionaire. And Bloomberg has more power than Hitler does. The mayor of New York City is more powerful than the president of the United States. The mayor of New York City controls the whole world, controls all financial markets, because Wall Street is the world capital of finances. New York City is the world capital of journalism and media. New York City is the world capital of fashion, architecture. New York City is the world capital of everything, pretty much. And Mike Bloomberg was already one of the most powerful men on earth as a multi-billionaire. He is now twice as powerful as the second most powerful person in human history. We're lucky he doesn't have an army the size of Hitler. But his army, the NYPD, the world's largest police force on earth, has gotten caught endless scandals, raping women, raping women, raping women, raping men, raping men, raping men, beating up fags, beating up fags, beating up fags, beating up fags, entrapping gay men, entrapping gay men. Bloomberg's army has committed literally over 40 million crimes in the 10 years he's been mayor so far. The endless crimes the NYPD, I can list, no joke, 8,000 crimes the NYPD did to me in those 10 years. They jailed me and other dissenters. Anyone who criticized the emperor was thrown in jail falsely. False charges. They gave me 6 months in jail for attempted harassment. No one's ever even heard of attempted harassment. The mayor can do whatever he wants because he controls all the judges. He doesn't just control the police. He controls and appoints all the judges. He holds their pensions hostage. He controls everything. The President of the United States doesn't control that much. The mayor of New York City has no checks and balances. And Dan Savage said, let me keep this Republican in power. And he did. I ran for mayor in 2005 again to expose Bloomberg's crimes. I was on the Democratic ballot. I set a lot of records in the election. I did a lot of real good. And they threw me in jail 3 times during the campaign because everybody said my platform was brilliant, blah, blah, blah. Again, legalizing gay marriage was in my 100 innovations for New York City. And fairness law, do unto others law, et cetera, saying it has to be fair. Now, already the federal constitution says that all laws must be applied equally. So, I mean, they had to legalize gay marriage no matter what, just under the federal constitution. All laws must be applied equally, poor or white, rich, black, government employee, civilian, doesn't matter. Gay, straight, all laws must be applied equally. If you give marriage license to a hetero couple, you have to give marriage to a gay couple. Now, Dan Savage has never mentioned the 14th Amendment once in his career. I wonder why. That's a wacky coincidence. Another wacky coincidence of him supporting the anti-gay movement, as long as he gets his. Again, in 2005, he wouldn't help any of us. He could have ended Bloomberg's career with one article, with one column in the Village Voice and elsewhere. He knew that Bloomberg, by 2005, he already knew that Bloomberg was the number one funder of the Republican Party in congressional offices, in local districts, governor's races across the country, everywhere, state legislatures. The number one funder of Bush Cheney was a man named Mike Bloomberg, the number one funder of all Republicans across the country, Mike Bloomberg. Dan Savage, being a coward and a fucking sellout, would go after certain specific Republicans who didn't wield that much power, like Rick Santorum, instead of going after the man who put all of these criminals into power. Does that smell right to you? Now, I'm challenging Dan Savage to a public debate, but he's a right-winger. Right-wingers don't debate their enemies. Right-wingers plead the fifth. Bill Maher will never run away from a debate because he's a liberal. Jon Stewart will never run away from a debate because he's a liberal. Rush Limbaugh will never, ever agree to participate in a debate because he's a right-winger. Dan Savage has declined to debate me. So if you didn't even hear any of my facts, you would know just from him refusing to debate me in a public challenge, just that means he's not only guilty, but that he thinks he's guilty. Because a person who believes in what they're doing, even if they're wrong, will argue their side. But a person who knows they're lying about everything will refuse to tell their side of the story. But wait, there's more. There's so much evidence. I'm gonna spare you most of it. Example, in 2006, a New York State judge legalized gay marriage. One person on earth stopped him. The mayor of New York City, a right-wing psychopathic mass murderer who hates little people, hates minorities, hates civil rights, and is legendary. He's one of the number one enemies of civil rights, who had put Bush back into office in 2004 to keep killing women and children and stealing trillions of our dollars. Bush and Cheney would not have won re-election in 2004 without Mike Bloomberg's money and help, and his PR machines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Dan Savage knew all this. It was all over the press. Bloomberg at Madison Square Garden, and then arresting 800 innocent people. He arrested little old ladies walking down the street who were just going grocery shopping. Bloomberg arrested, and he got caught committing all kinds of Nazi crimes. Dan Savage said, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever it takes to protect Mike Bloomberg. And he did. Day after day, week after week, column after column, year after year, Dan Savage protected the billionaire media mogul he hoped to get a job with. And he sold out all gays and all gay rights. And Bloomberg continued to do all kinds of shady things and still fund Republicans. Now, a wacky thing happened in 2008, was it? Or 2000, was it? No, well, 2010, but before that, when Elliot Spitzer won, what year was that? Because it got a little weird here in New York. We finally, after 12 years of Republicans running New York State and running New York City, we got a Democrat in power of New York State, Elliot Spitzer. The Republicans, like Dan Savage, took him out. Hit job. But at the same time, both houses of New York State, the state Senate and the Assembly, were also finally Democrat run. So you understand, all three branches of the government in New York State were Democratic run, and they were going to legalize gay marriage. Then Dan Savage came in. And Dan Savage said, I'm going to help you, Mike Bloomberg, whatever you do. And Mike Bloomberg said, we got to get